to part 3, the book of James. Living and working together again today. Seems to be what we're about. You will recall that the book of James is written by Jesus' half-brother. Tame your tongue. And it's written to churches outside of Jerusalem, little churches that are trying to be faithful, to follow Jesus. James tells them that step 1 is getting along with each other. It's a practical guide. Jesus' brother is a down-to-earth guy. The people he's writing to are down-to-earth people. So this is a simple letter telling them how to get along. Last week we talked about how if you just hear the word and don't do anything about it, then you might as well not have heard it. That what we hear in the holy place needs to be lived out in the marketplace, or there's no point in hearing it. We talked about Proverbs. Careful words make a careful life. Careful words make a careful life. Careless talk can ruin everything. And James tells his churches to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger. Nearly all of chapter 3 is about how to get along with each other. Go on, look at that a little more closely this morning. Talk about that.
Yeah, James has a lot to say about the tongue, in case you missed that. A bit in the mouth of a horse controls the whole horse. Is that true, Emma? Yeah. A small rudder on a huge ship in the hands of a skilled captain sets a course in the face of the strongest winds. A word out of your mouth may seem of no account, but it can accomplish nearly anything or destroy it. It only takes a spark, remember, to set off a forest fire. A careless or wrongly placed word out of your mouth can do that. By our speech, we can ruin the world, turn harmony to chaos, throw mud on a reputation, send the whole world up in smoke, and go up in smoke with it. Smoke right from the pit of hell. This is scary. You can tame a tiger, but you can't tame a tongue. It's never been done. The tongue runs wild, a wanton killer. With our tongues, we bless God our Father, and with the same tongues, we curse the very men and women He made in His image. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. I knew that was wrong when I was 12 years old and I heard it. I don't know who came up with that one. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can kill my spirit. There is no place in the body of Christ, within the family, within the church, for gossip, for unsolicited, uninformed advice. We call that talking at people. Gossip's talking about people. Parking lot conversations. That's where you talk about somebody who's not there. That sort of speech is judgmental and hypocritical. And you know, when you ask the generations that are missing from the mainline church, those two generations, Gen X, millennials, why they're missing, they'll tell you, because we're judged and the people there are hypocritical. The tongue. So it's good advice that James gave to his little churches, and it's good advice that James gives to us today. Guess what? We've advanced. It's no longer just speech. You really want to hurt somebody, you send an email.
Or you post it on
Post it on
Facebook.
Facebook. Twitter about it. Write a letter. The same advice applies to all those forms of communications as well.
In the 60s, you used to be on the party line on the phone.
Yeah, where everybody could hear it.
Yeah, where you heard all the good stuff. I remember that.
Mm-hmm. One of life's most difficult tasks. I know you don't remember that. Anyway. One of life's most difficult duties is to control our own tongue, isn't it? I mean, James has said, what? Be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. So one of life's most difficult duties is to control our own tongue. So something for us to talk about as a group. What ways have you found that work for you to control your tongue? Jump in. Close your mouth.
Listen.
Listen.
I walk away till I calm down.
Walk away till I calm down.
Don't put the address into the email until you're ready to send it.
Don't put the address. Don't put the address on the email until you're ready to send it.
So like vent and then
That's right.
maybe rethink.
And then
Delete.
hit the delete key instead of the send key. Yeah. No.
Learn how to use Messenger rather than public post on Facebook.
Okay. Yeah. Anybody ever teach you to count to 10?
But you actually have to be calm enough to do all those things.
That's true.
You have to be disciplined enough to close your mouth and count to 10 and walk away. And sometimes you're just not. I'm just not. Anybody else want to confess that?
Sometimes it's worth it to let it out.
Yeah.
Well, it feels like it in
It does. It feels like it in the moment.
Yeah.
Well, that part of going on to perfection, not being perfect, that's where we all can slide in there. James goes on. So he's talking about the quick to anger, talking about not to each other and not being very complimentary. He says, "My friends, this can't go on. Curses and blessings come out of the same mouth. A spring doesn't gush fresh water one day and brackish the next, does it? Apple trees don't bear strawberries, do they? Raspberry bushes don't bear apples, do they? You're not going to dip into a polluted mud hole and get a cup of clear, cool water, are you? Out of our mouths come good things and not so great things. A compliment or a criticism. We all know people who cannot compliment. They just can't bring themselves to give another a compliment. But criticism seems to be a little bit easier. But when we look in the mirror, make sure that's not you. Be quick to encourage, because the tongue can encourage just as easily as it can discourage. The heart and the ego might have a harder time complimenting than criticizing. But the tongue can do either equally well. Jesus had practical advice about communicating with the body. with each other within the body of Christ. In Matthew 18, he says.
Red letters.
And if Jesus said it, I sort of believe it. How about you? If a fellow believer hurts you, go and tell him. Go and tell them. Don't tell your friend. Don't send an email. Go and tell them. Work it out between the two of you. If he listens, you've made a friend. If he won't listen, take one or two others along with you, so that the presence of the witnesses keeps things honest. And try again. If he still won't listen, tell the church. That's really hard for us, right? If you won't listen, go into the body. Come in here and say, this is what you did to me. This is what he said.
That's not in this.
We need to resolve that. If he still won't listen and you've told the church, you'll have to start over from scratch. Confront him with the need for turning back to God, and then offer God's forgiving love. So it's not just what we say and what we write, it's how we say it and how we write it, how we communicate, and how we live. Remember, James is practical and down to earth. Real wisdom, God's wisdom, begins with a holy life. And a holy life is characterized by getting along with others. It is gentle and reasonable, overflowing with mercy and blessings, not hot one day and cold the next, not two-faced. You can develop a healthy, robust community that lives right with God and enjoy its results only if you do the hard work of getting along. James doesn't say it's easy to live in community. He says you're only going to live in harmony if you do the hard work of getting along with each other, treating each other with dignity and honor. Real wisdom is God's wisdom. When we get along with each other. And James has said all along, your actions speak louder than your words. Remember, you can hear it, but if you don't do something about it, it's no good. So when we get along with others and don't talk behind people's back and spread rumors, we also need to think about in our families. How are we teaching that? How are we teaching our kids and our grandkids? Do we say, that's not nice, and then talk about the daughter-in-law who lives in, who knows where, doing who knows what with her, who knows how many ex-husband, boyfriend, whatever? Are we judgmental? Do we criticize? Do we talk to our spouse with honor and respect, or do we nag and criticize and belittle? What we say is one thing, but how we actually live that out is what teaches the rest of the world that we are faithful. I'm faithful, I go to church. Really? What else do you do? James is down-to-earth advice for down-to-earth people.
We invite you to take one more step with us. Step outside the doors. Ask yourselves, is Sandpoint United Methodist Church known for open and honest communication? What example are we setting for community. Would you pray with me? God, as followers of Jesus, help us to act and speak as he did, in truth and in love. As we gather at his table, help us to listen to him, remember him, and become his hands, feet, and voice in our time and in our place. Amen. Would you please stand now as we're singing? We're going to ask Alice and Kurt to play this song through once before we start singing it, because it's new.